Assalamualaikum. We are students from System Analysis and Design Section 3. We are presenting our group project, which is a second-hand e-commerce system named Resouqa. To begin with, we have created a use case diagram to describe the functions of the system. The primary actors on the left can register or log into their account, and the system verifies the username and password. Users can also manage their profile. Then they can also view the product details. This can be done through browsing or searching for the product. After that, they can check out, add to cart, or chat with the seller. Simultaneously, the seller can manage their products. When the buyer makes an order, they can choose the delivery method. Afterwards, they will go through the payment process, whereby the bank is involved to verify the payment. The order is tracked, and the courier is responsible to update the order status. Finally, the administrator can manage user profiles, products, and orders.
For the next part, we will group up the use case into 4 different subsystems. The first is user, the second is product, the third is order, and the last one is payment subsystems. There are also actors that connected to these subsystems. For example, the user subsystem connected to buyer, seller, and also admin. Same goes for product. It connected to buyer, seller, and also admin. But for order, it connected to buyer, admin, and also courier service provider. And for the last subsystems, which is the payment, it connected to the buyer and also the bank.
Now I would like to present the use case design for the user subsystem. The actors are buyer, seller, and admin. The description is to allow buyer, seller to log in or register into the system. It also allows them plus admin to manage their profile. The triggering event is when the user click on the login or register button, and the trigger type is external. Then we will move to the main pass, which is the user click on the login section, and then the user enter username, and then the user enter password, and after that the user click on the login button. Then the system will verify their credential, and if it is valid, the user can enter the home page. So the precondition for this subsystem is the user has already registered and is on the login page. The post condition is the user successfully entered the system. The assumption is the user has valid username and also password. And the issues is, should we block the user if they enter wrong password for many times to avoid hacker? And the alternative flow for this use case is, if customer do not have account yet, they can register a new account. Now I would like to present the activity diagram for this user subsystem. Firstly, the user need to enter the website and will be given choices. It's either to register, login, or manage their profile. Let's say that the user already have active account. They just need to choose login and enter their username and also password, and then the system will validate it. And if it is valid, they will get into the website. And if it is not, the user will get login error and they need to enter username and password again. And let's say that the user don't have any account, they need to choose register, and the system will create an account form for them. Then the user need to enter their new username, their active email, and also a password. And the system will validate it, and if it is valid, the user can go into the website. And if it is not, the user need to enter their credential again. And then we have the third choice, which is manage profile. It allows the user to change their existing username, email, or password. Then the system will save their data. This is the last part, which is sequence diagram. Let's say that the user click login and the user will go into the login page, and then the user login using their username and password, and the system will validate it. And after its success, the system will return the login successful and also the login successful message, and the user can go into the home page. It also apply on the register. And then we have the user choose click manage profile, and then they can manage their profile either to change their email, username, or password, and then the system will validate it. After that, the system will say that the change has been successfully made, and then the user will take back to the home page.
So we move to the next subsystem, which name product system. This is the use case scenario. The actor in this subsystem is admin, seller, and buyer. So this system will allow buyer to view, browse, search the product detail, add the product to the cart, and chat with the seller. The trigger event is when user initiate the product related action such as browsing, searching, or checkout. The main path of this subsystem is buyer browse the product, search the product using the search feature, view the data information by selecting the specific product, and then they add a product to the cart. Next, they proceed to checkout by adding the selected item to the cart. Then they complete the purchase at the checkout station. For the precondition, is the user already logged in to the account, and we assume that the customer's account information is accurate. And then for the post condition, the seller will prepare the items for shipment. And for the alternative flow, if the user encounters any issue or has question during the process, they can initiate a chat with the seller for assistance. So now we move to the product subsystem activity diagram. This activity will initiate at the buyer session, which is the buyer will browse and search the product that they want to buy, and the system will display the product section and the detail of the product when the user selected a specific product, and then the user will add the product to cart by click add to cart button, and then the product will be added to the cart, and the user will check out. If they want to check out the item, the system will prompt them to the payment system, and then if not, the subsystem will end there. So now we move to the last part, which is the sequence diagram. Sequence diagram is very simple. The buyer first will be login to the system, and then they will browse the product at the product shop page, and they get the detail at the product section, and then the system will return the product detail and display it to the buyer, and then buyer will ask to add the item to the cart and using the add item method, and then the item will be added to the cart and return to the buyer, and then buyer will ask for the card details before they proceed to the checkout item and get the payment details by uh, using the payment subsystem, and then they will return the payment detail to the buyer. That's it, inshallah.
This is the use case scenario for the order subsystem. The actors are the buyer, admin, and courier service provider. The description is that it allows buyer to select delivery method, make, and manage order. Allow admin to manage order. At the same time, it allows courier service provider to update the tracking information. The triggering event is when the buyer check out the products and make order. Also when the buyer clicks the manage order button. For the main path, firstly the user clicks the checkout button and then selects delivery method and then clicks place order button. Afterwards, they will enter the payment subsystem and taken to the home page after performing the payment transaction. The user clicks manage button and then clicks tracking information button, and finally the tracking information is displayed. The preconditions is the user must be logged into the account. The post condition, the seller is preparing the item for shipment. The requirements met is the order is successfully made. The activity diagram begins when the user checks out the item. The order details is then displayed. The user then chooses the delivery method and place order. Next, the process is repeated depending on the payment status. If the user clicks the manage order button, the system will display the order details and the user is given the option to get help or view the tracking information of that order. The system then displays the output based on the user's input and the process is finished. This is the last diagram for the order subsystem, which is the sequence diagram. As you can see, there are four classes, which are view card user interface, the interface controller, the product, and the order class. Firstly, the user checks out the item and the system places the order. But at this point, the user gets an overview of the order and can choose the delivery method. After the order is placed, the user can manage the orders that they have made, and they are given the choice to view their tracking information or get help for their orders. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we move on to the last subsystem, which is payment. The actor related to these subsystems are buyer and bank. This subsystem will allow the user to select payment method, and make payment, and also the bank to verify the payment. The triggering event is the user's make payment. So for the main path, the first is the user click the make payment button, and after that the user will select the payment method. So let's say the user select the online banking and Maybank to you as their bank, and after that the user will click the place order button. After that, the system will prompt the user to log in the bank. The user will key in their details and the bank will verify the details. After that, the user will check the payment details and the bank will verify their payment details. And lastly, the user payment was accepted. So for the pre-condition, the user is logged into their account, and for the post condition, the seller is preparing the item for shipment. And for these subsystems, we assume that the customer's account information is accurate, and the payment will be successful if the requirements are met. So for the alternate flow, if the user wants to cancel the payment, the user will just click the cancel payment button. And for the priority and risk, both are high. So for the activity diagram, it starts with make payment. If the user doesn't want to make payment, it will just end. But if he does, then the system will display the payment method. The buyer will select the payment method and click place order button. After that, the system will prompt to log into the bank, and the buyer will log in the bank. And the bank will verify the username and password. If it is wrong, you will go back to prompt to log in bank. But if it is correct, you will move on so that the buyer will check the payment details. After checking, the buyer will click the submit button and go and will be verified by the bank. If it is successful, if it is not successful, it will go back to click place order button. But if it is successful, the system will display payment successful and end. So for the last one is the sequence diagrams. The buyer will click the make payment button and get payment method to the payment. After that, the payment will return the payment method all the way to the buyer. Next, the buyer will click place order button and get verify user by bank, and after that bank will return the verify user and return the verify user back to the buyer. And lastly, the buyer will check payment details and get verified payment by the bank. The bank will return verify payment and return verify payment to the buyer. And that's all from us. Thank you very much and have a nice day.